guten Tag, or for those in Australia, guten Abend, or good evening. It is an absolute pleasure to be back here again for Musician's Mind, Raw Talk, Raw Music. Now, there might be a bit of a delay with my headphones in, but it's a much easier setup at this particular venue. I'm here in Europe. I'm here in Austria, in Vorarlberg, at my dear friend and co-writer Marcus's house and studio, as you can see behind me. I'm super excited to come at you live from Europe. This is insane. And of course we had to change the days. It's normally a Monday, 8:30 p.m., which translates to 8 hours prior here, which would have been 12:30 p.m. on the Monday. But yesterday I was traveling on a train from Vienna to Vorarlberg, so I couldn't do this at that time because the reception wasn't great. But in this particular one, here we are on Tuesday, the 27th of October, and we're a few days out from my first debut, live show internationally, which is insane. Very exciting, very exciting, and I was actually really excited for this episode because I wanted to get my friend Johannes Apfel on this one, because we're doing the gig together on Friday, which is super exciting. And to be honest, it's so cool to get a perspective of somebody else within this mental health realm, or this mental health, creatives and mental health, from somebody international, from Germany. This is crazy. He's in Munich. And I'm super excited. He's an incredible guitarist, phenomenal guitarist from what I've heard and seen. And I am so looking forward to Friday, where we get to rehearse and jam and suss it all out. And then, and of course, we're going to get to know him and his story as well in a few minutes. Before we do that, I'm looking over here because my laptop's here. Before we do that, for anyone that is joining me or joining this series for the first time, with Musician's Mind, Raw Talk, Raw Music. Look, I don't know how this conversation is going to go. I don't know how long it's going to be, but generally between 30-40 minutes, something around there, is we talk about mental health and the challenges of mental health with creatives. I myself have suffered, and I know lots of others that suffer out there as well, or at least go through some kind of phase or stages with mental health. Living with it as a creative can be quite difficult. But we have these open, raw conversations, honest. There's no editing here. There's no fancy tricks or gimmicks or anything. It's just a simple conversation with another human being, and that's what it's all about. Now, normally I would have a charity feature set up with this live stream where you could actually donate to a charity like Lifeline or Beyond Blue, something to do with the live scheduled feature. It didn't quite work at this time, but I will set up the charity after this video and try and get people involved with whatever charity that is, because to be honest, anything helps. Absolutely anything helps at all. And there are some incredible organizations out there doing so many wonderful things with charity stuff. And I wanted to say welcome to those that have joined us. Thank you so much. Hey. Now I will get, without further ado, I'm going to bring on Johannes, my guest for this episode. And I will invite him. 1 second here. Let's go, Johannes. There he is. Hey, my man.
Hey Tim, thanks for the very kind words.
Oh man, my pleasure. And I could tell you more kind words because they're all true.
Dude, we
In
have
the short. It's funny, man. I think when did we meet? We met maybe online 3 months ago, something like that.
I guess so, yeah. Through Instagram, weirdly.
Yeah. Well, here we are on Instagram again. No, I just think it's the most amazing thing how this music stuff brings us all together. This world is just one place, and we might be thousands of kilometers apart, but in some way, shape, or form, our music has connected. My singing, your playing, and I just find that I just find that incredible. I'm still blown away. I'm still blown away. And you're such a
Yeah,
cool
man,
human.
it's
Such a
crazy,
cool
man.
human.
I'm very thankful for this. I mean, I don't really appreciate loads of things that social media brings us, but this is kind of weird. I meet a guy on a reel on
Hmm.
Instagram, get in touch, we get along very well, and suddenly you're singing on our songs, and
Hmm.
now you're coming to Germany. It's sounds like a miracle, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And it's funny because you reached out to me in a time where, funnily enough, with my mental health, I was struggling considerably. It was kind of like the start of this journey with the musician's mind. It was,
Mhm.
my world got shaken up entirely from my last trip here in Europe. And when I got home, it wasn't just the post-holiday blues of like, I wish I was back in Europe. It was so much fun. It wasn't that. It was something fundamentally changed inside of here and here, where I had to change my perspective on music and life, and I really sort of admitted to myself at this point that I wanted to be, quote unquote, a rock star. I wanted to be this singer, and I started putting these videos out, which is
Yeah,
how
man.
you which is how you jumped on board. You said, "Man, great vocal. Could you sing for me?" Absolutely. I would love to sing for you. I'd love to sing for everyone.
Yeah, man.
Um, and the rest
You
is
shared the
history.
gift, man.
Well, likewise. You've got Axe Leisure or Axe Leisure, which I sing a couple of songs on. We haven't released them yet, but they're coming. That's very exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, I have to say, man, I worked with a lot of singers, and it has never been a very smooth thing. Like it's always you have to pay or you have to wait, or it's. I mean,
I
the front singers,
understand.
they're the most important part normally that really makes or breaks a song. So these people normally are not that easy to work with. So, dude, thanks a lot, man.
My pleasure. My
We have
pleasure.
three
Thank you.
songs now,
Yeah.
basically in the pipeline. I'm just
Yeah.
mixing them, and yeah, I'm very excited to release them in November. I think the first one drops.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for it too, man. I can't. And of course, we're singing some of these in an acoustic version on Friday,
Yeah, man.
at our show, which is just wild. See, this is the thing. Like, I didn't even know you were from Munich at the time when you said, "Hey, let's do some music together." And then all of a sudden you're from Munich, and I'm like, "Oh, that's really close to where I'm gonna be. Let's make this happen." So, yeah, just the stars aligned some way, shape, or form, and here we are, which is unreal. But
Yeah, man.
I'm really excited to get to know you in this space because uh, obviously, I mean, I've only known you like 3 months. We haven't physically met yet. We've just met, and this is the first time we've had a proper, I guess, conversation, apart from
Yeah.
messaging on and voice messages between each other and hey, sing this and do this. So this is really cool. But tell me and tell obviously the people that are listening. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us your story.
My story. Well, let's keep it short. I'm 34 now. I also realized that I have to be I have to be a musician more than just as a hobby. I
Hmm.
really have to do it. I really suffer when I don't do it and when I don't basically satisfy my creative output that's always there.
Hmm.
And when I don't get the music out, then yeah, I just don't feel right. And I also have an office job. I studied engineering in the beginning,
Hmm.
which was probably the biggest dip in my music career. And yeah, I did audio engineering and electrical engineering, all that kind of stuff. But when I started working, I quickly realized, man, I can't sit here for 9 to 5 doing 40 hours a week. It
Hmm.
just makes me fucking depressed, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I needed to change that. So uh, I appreciate the engineering world for what it is. There's lots of stability, and the people are stable as well. They're not so with their heads in everywhere and in the stars. They're very reliable, and you work it with your analytical
Hmm.
brain side. Basically, you get your money, and yeah, it's the stability that I need in my life, and
Mm.
now and the other part time of my life, I do music basically 30, 40 hours a week. I do music with my girlfriend where we play weddings and cover gigs. Uh, I do guitar lessons here and online. I just gotta do it, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, now doing the X Leisure project, which is basically me and a friend just writing rock songs
Yeah,
and inviting great singers like yourself. Just no bullshit, just putting the songs out,
yeah,
no promotion budget, no nothing. It's just basically, hey man, this is my music. Here
yeah.
it is.
That's great. It's
Yeah,
so good. It's
satisfy that need of putting your creative output somewhere to rest, and
yeah.
yeah, just feels good.
That's awesome, man. And I can absolutely relate in terms of, a 9 to 5. Like I do IT work outside of all of music stuff. Like I sit down and fix computers and all that. And it's boring. And it is. For us creatives, it's that. I mean, I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. There's parts of it I really enjoy, but it is. It's the analytical brain, but then the creative side suffers.
Yeah.
So you have to have that outlet. So, and to be honest, your project Axe Leisure. When I heard the songs, I was like, these are such fun songs. Like they're, dare I say, like they're a typical rock song, but they're a classic rock song in a modern setting. And I really enjoy it. And I mean, your playing is incredible. Like the solos and everything else, they're
Thanks, man.
top tier, man. So really, really well done. Um, and when you sent through some of those acoustic tracks for us to practice to, I actually heard a lot of um, a previous guitarist I used to work with. It sounds a lot like him in a lot of ways, which I thought was quite difficult to do. Um,
Okay,
it,
that's good.
and he was great, Mars Sahara on Instagram, but he was really good. But there was a lot of this rock element, and I love it. It's so exciting to see. I can see how much of an outlet it is for you, which is unreal, unreal. I wanted to ask though. I mean, you mentioned that there was a dip. You had your you were doing your engineering, studying, and stuff like that. And when you're not doing music, you suffer. You get a bit depressed. You get a bit, life kind of sucks for a bit. Is there like a mental health challenge that you've faced surrounding that, like as a creative person? Like what's been one of your biggest struggles there?
Yeah, I guess the biggest struggle is when you don't give yourself the space to actually follow that dream,
Hmm.
or to allow yourself to become that person. I mean, you don't have to be that person already, but allow some space to become that, and don't say, well, uh, I'm an engineer now. I do this now full time, and I just play guitar exhausted when I come home, and I'm not satisfied because I'm just completely empty there.
Hmm.
Uh, that I think was for me the first step, to allow myself to grant myself the time, maybe not have as much money, um, but allow myself to work less in the office, make
Hmm.
more music, even if I don't, if I'm not able to afford the big holiday in Bali now, which kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, I'm just a more rounded human being when I can really allow myself to be that creative person and make my music and be free of judgment and just
Hmm.
let it live. And that, I guess, was for me the first step when uh, yeah, when I started working in engineering after studying it, because you kind of go on a certain path,
Hmm.
and it feels like yeah, you this is your life now, and then make this drastic change.
Yeah,
You just gotta do it, and it feels good every single day that I'm doing it that way.
that's
I,
amazing, man. Well, I mean, that's a whole lot of courage right there to take that step. Because I mean, it's so evident that so many people in this world, they don't have the balls to do that. Honestly, they don't, or they suffocate themselves, and ultimately, you know, at the end of their lifetime, or in 10 years' time, they're sitting there, they're so unhappy, they're so depressed. You know, mental health is huge because, you know, for them, in a negative way, they can't get out of whatever rut they're in, or whatever, you know, story they've created for themselves. But I think for creatives like yourself and myself, it's such an important part of who we are. Why, you know, why would we want to stifle that? Why would we want to go, no, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be an IT guru, or I'm going to be, you know, something that I'm not,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
because it creates such disconnect, such friction, such, um, you know, your life's going in two, there's essentially two paths in front of you. Which one are you know, red pill, blue pill,
Yeah.
which way are you going to go? And it's,
Yeah.
and I love stories like yours where I hear that you gave everything into your, or put everything into your music, and you chose that, and it's made you happier and an all-rounded human, better rounded human as a result, which is good.
Definitely, man. It's I mean, you can basically do both. I'm also a friend of balance.
Mm,
I can work in the office if I don't work too much and I have energy to also do the stuff that I love to do, then um, it's okay. I mean,
yeah.
if I have 2 days where I work for 10 hours at the office, then I start really getting a small depression. Is I mean,
Mm,
for other people that sounds like yeah, man, don't be so sensitive, but I really become very annoying because I'm not okay with myself, and
mm,
I'm also not okay with the other people then. So a good balance, yeah, a
absolutely.
good balance for me is healthy, and I can only basically speak for that, yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, balance is huge. And it's, I think as creatives, we suffer from that as well, because I know that for myself, when I go into a studio and I've got a project, I could spend hours and hours and hours, days even, on these projects, and you know, really go down the rabbit hole, and I don't do anything else. Or maybe I've got to go to work and I do all this, like a work project for 3 or 4 days, and I go down that rabbit hole, but everything else suffers. It's like
Mhm.
all or nothing. So finding a balance there is hard.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How do you do it, man? Because you have such an enormous output. Your followers are growing like crazy. So I'm also very keen on knowing how is your mindset? Like, how do you go about your day to put out videos all the time at this quality?
Uh, Good question. Thank you. For me, it's not so much about how much I can put out there all the time. I mean, that's part of it, absolutely. But it's more just, this is just what I want to do. This is just who I am. Like I want to sing. So the easiest, the quickest way for me to do that is, you know, what's a song I like? Let's find a version of it that I can sing, and then record that, put it out to the world. Hopefully, other people like it too, and that's me sharing a gift that I have with the world, and that's what I want to do. I want to share, and hopefully, it brings people together in some way, shape, or form, like this exact, you know, situation where we're literally other ends of the world, and we're coming together, even if it's for one night or whatever the case. But you know, at least now I've got an incredible friend on the other side of the world that I can, you know, work with. But same thing with Marcus, where it was this. You know, we met on Fiverr.com, where I did um,
Okay.
a lot of this music, just putting it out there. People contacting me, paying me for songs and singing and stuff. And I did a lot of output then as well, but
Okay.
I wasn't as what's the word?
Visible.
Visible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't as visible with it all at that point. It was I never used to do the covers online and things like that. It was just this, um, yeah, it was a business transaction for me, and I needed the money at the time. It was during COVID and all that stuff. So, but then, you know, 2.5 years down the track, he's like, "Hey man, come to Europe. Let's meet up. Let's have some fun. Let's make some music together in the same place at the same time." You know, using and the rest is history. Here we are, second time in a year. So, like I said, that last trip really woke me up because it was the first time as a vocalist and as a musician that somebody saw such worth within me and my craft
Hmm.
to to bring me over the other side of the world, treat me like a rock star through and through, and write more music, and we created this incredible song that we're going to release soon, and it was life changing for me because I'd never had that, and it was like, right, well, I need more of that.
Hmm.
I want more of that, and not only that, I want to share it with people. I want to share it with my family. I want to share it with people like yourself. I want to share it with Marcus. I want to share it with everyone because it deserves to be shared. It's a beautiful shared experience that we have within music. It's the universal language. So it's really
Yeah.
that's in my head, my mentality. That's the driving force.
Hmm.
And of course, I have to physically look after myself. So I train, and I know you train. Like I train physically 6 days a week to make sure that this stays, on task.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I have too much time to sit and think and even create, like I could create something and put it out there, but I find that if I don't physically move through whatever emotions I'm dealing with, the music tends to suffer more.
Hmm.
It becomes flat. It becomes, like doesn't have the energy in it anymore. So I have to keep moving as much as possible. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that's a big part of it too. So the output side of it is just it's a byproduct of just me being me, I guess, or trying to be me, as true to me as I can.
Yeah.
So
You found your pace now, and you're working out. You're
yeah,
mentally more stable, and now basically, as a product, you just put out
yeah.
videos, and I mean, you're doing so much. It's uh, other people are just doing maybe 5% of that, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm trying, and it just needs to keep going and growing. And I figure, I look to people online putting out bits of content all the time, and I go, man, how are you doing so much? And then I go, oh, maybe I just need to do this, this, and this. I need to have a set time that I go in the studio and I do these things, or this episode, this podcast, this series, I guess, is another aspect of that. But it's this awesome connection that we get where we get to chat about mental health and creative things, and I just
Hmm.
think um, it's a testament to doing again what I think is what I should be doing. So if things are working as a result, then that's all the assurance that I need. With it all, which is really, really
Yeah,
cool.
man.
Um, and
Yeah,
and
very
so
cool
you,
idea also.
thank you, thank you, and
Yeah.
you do. I remember you messaging me the other day. You're like, I just finished my morning cardio. I'm ready and roaring to go. Everything's good. So you obviously train. How often do you train, and what does it do for your mental health? Is it a similar thing, or is it just because you feel like you need to?
Yeah, I I think I just realized in my 30s that really I'm not built to have any day where I don't move at least, I don't know, half an hour,
Mm,
where my body needs to move. Otherwise, I have pain. And this also translates to uh, mental suffering and
mm,
basically thoughts spiraling and all that kind of shit just comes down to, dude, just check the box, move,
mm.
get your some blood in your muscles. I
Yeah,
don't really work out like I used to do in my 20s when I needed to be the strongest man that I
mm,
can be. I
mm,
just
mm.
work out to be healthy. I work out
Yeah,
to have a healthy body and longevity
yeah,
and be able to play guitar all the time.
yeah,
I need those muscles and those muscles to be sufficiently
yeah,
strong to be able to sit like that for 5 hours a day. That was also a big learning that I should have learned in my 20s, but I just since I think turned 30 or 31, I really got into growing a routine,
mm,
getting the right exercises to strengthen the right muscles to just keep doing what I'm doing and also get like a upward gradient to get to do more of that.
yeah,
You work out more and it keeps it keeps growing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. The more I work out, the more energy I have. The less I work out, the less energy I have. And I might not feel like doing it in a day, or when I wake up in the morning, I know I've got a big day, but I'll have to fit that in somewhere
Yeah,
because that's going to give me the energy, the kick for the day.
yeah,
It's crazy how it works, but it's so true. It's so true.
yeah. It's a
And
game
the fact that
changer.
oh man, it's a massive game changer. How do you? I mean, you obviously do lots of gigs and shows and things around Munich. You're in the duo with your partner. Um, you do solo stuff. You do studio stuff. How do you sort of? Is there much pressure with that as like the expectation of a musician, like putting stuff out there or putting the songs out for Axe Leisure, or is there much in that way? Does it sort of do you get like a stage fright? Do you get super nervous before shows? Like, is there any of that sort of mental health aspect for you?
Yeah, that's a big question. Stage fright and that kind of anxiety, that was a very big thing for me, I guess, in my uh, in in my 20s or in the
Mm?
beginning of my 20s, um, especially when I didn't have too many gigs, and then you have one gig or two gigs a year, and then the pressure builds up, and you start thinking, and yeah, when you don't have the routine and you don't have your mental tools, then
Mm.
that was the time when I was struggling to be a musician, I guess, in my 20s, because I I got really get bad stage fright, I think, at the end of my school career.
Okay.
So I really I had trouble to do like any public performance, like speaking or let alone playing guitar. It was really like I wanted it so much. I wanted to be so much the cool guy that just
Mm.
doesn't care and looks like he doesn't care. Uh, I wanted to be that guy so much that at the end I couldn't be that
Yeah.
guy. I started getting really nervous, got a shaky voice, and that also, I guess, led me more into the direction. Okay, I'm studying electrical engineering now. Those people, they all just sit behind their desks, and they're not public speakers,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
they're not out there basically. But man, I basically just needed to learn the tools and not be so harsh to myself, and not have the huge expectation that I
Mm.
need to be the this needs to be the perfect gig. And it's just a progress where sometimes you fail, and when you get up and you don't beat yourself up, then just keep going. And also your mind evolves and gets more resilient to that kind of stage stress. And
Mm.
nowadays I'm trying to put it more into the perspective that I just want to play, I just want to have fun, I want to share it. Doesn't need to be perfect. People don't really connect to perfect. They
Mm.
connect to the human element. That's
Absolutely.
the kind of stuff that I'm telling myself. I mean, of course, everybody wants to have a great show and wants to nail it, but I stopped beating myself up too heavily when something doesn't go the way I want it to go, and I stopped having the huge expectation that it's going to be this one gig is going to be the thing. It's
Mm.
it's more like it's a path for forever, hopefully, and just keeps going and growing.
That makes so much sense to me, man. Because it was a very similar experience for me a long time ago. I don't really suffer from stage fright much anymore because I've similar to yourself. There's that I've taken down that expectation of it has to be the perfect show. Perfectionism is like the killer of creativity to me. If you spend so long trying to get something perfect or stress too much about it being perfect, like the perfect gig and the perfect vocal and the perfect show and the perfect video or the all that stuff, it just it ruins it. It takes away that human element. So I definitely can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you learnt to deal with those expectations, and you learnt the strategies and tools. What did you sort of do to sort of overcome this?
Well, I think it was a process of many years. So, and I'm still in that process. So,
Yeah.
um, sometimes I have a gig where I'm not too happy about my performance afterwards, but um, that's perfectly normal, and I mean, if I take something that I didn't really appreciate and I think about it and think what maybe we could do better next time, or be really constructive, not being too hard on myself. That's
Mm,
what I try to do. I mean, sometimes I I play a gig and then I'm like, come on, that part that was really not good. And then you talk to somebody else and uh, he actually didn't realize it and he was listening in the crowd, and then you're in that mindset, that was really not good. And then you go to that person who actually enjoyed the gig and you have that negative mindset,
yeah.
which is really not what people are there for. They're not there for this perfection, and you're also not there to be perfect, and also not there to be thinking about yourself after the gig. It's more
Yeah.
about thinking and talking to the people
Yeah.
that actually were there and get their energy. And yeah, this I'm just putting out lots of things that I think I learned, or tools
Yeah. No,
that I'm
that's
applying.
yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes you just you don't feel guilt. Let's be honest.
That's
Sometimes
true.
not
Ab-
happy,
Absolutely, man.
unhappy,
I I
and
used to I used to really stress about my vocal all the time,
mhm,
and to a point where at the end of I toured for 7 years back in Australia doing uh, cover music and original stuff as well with this duo Mistrum, and it was a lot of fun, and I had so much fun with it, and the gentleman that I was playing with. But in the end of it, I was really struggling. I was You've got a call. At the end of it, I was. You're
Tim,
right. You do think.
sorry, I'm just getting another call and I'm just being kicked out of the audio. My apologies.
No, you're right. You take your time. Take your time.
1212.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
now I'm back.
we're back. Cool. That's all
Sorry,
right.
man.
No, you're right. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, at the end of it, I was really struggling with my vocals, and yeah, I had to have this certain um, preparation period. Like it was 2, 3 days of solid water and not eating this and not eating that and drinking certain things or eating certain, like it was crazy, man. It became an obsession, which was a really bad thing because I felt like I needed it to be at a certain level that I was at. Um, and it got really hard when I stopped all of that. When I just went, you know what, I need to warm up. I need to warm up my vocal. I need to cool down my vocal. I don't need to do stupid things like, you know, drink hot chili sauce or anything crazy. It's just, I just need to focus on consistency, I think was the big part for me, instead of, like you say, perfectionism or being perfect for that one show. But yeah, consistency and endurance versus perfection of the vocal each show. I just want to be at a standard level of like good or above good all the time. And that just comes from being more accepting, I think, like you've said, and more accepting of yourself as a musician, more accepting of the constructive criticism afterwards. Yeah, you might not have hit that note, or you might not have played the best solo, or you might not have connected with the audience as much as you thought you should have or could have. But at the end of that, maybe you have that conversation with that audience member and you go, hey, um, they approach you even and say, that was incredible, really liked that song. Really love the way you did that solo, and you're thinking, well, I thought it was the worst solo I've ever done, but it's a perspective thing. Music is subjective. It's, everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody's got a different idea of what's amazing to them. And I find focusing on the connection more rewarding than focusing on the performance these days. That's how I've sort of overcome this, uh, you know, perfectionism or expectation of being amazing and all that stuff. It's crazy.
That's very interesting. Yeah, the connection.
Focusing on the connection. I just think because that's what it's all about. It's like I said, it's that shared connection, shared emotion. You've written a song, and if somebody else can connect to that song because of its the similar emotion or whatever it might be, not the technical aspects. It might not be, oh, you played that G sharp there. It was awesome. I really like that G sharp. People don't think like that. I mean, maybe jazz musicians think like that, but we, the normal punter, the normal audience member, when they're sitting there and listening to a song, they listen completely. They don't listen to just a bit or a part. They go, that song was amazing. I really felt that, etc. So yeah, that's what I tend to focus on more these days versus absolutely nailing the vocal, absolutely nailing every lyric or whatever the case might be. So
yeah,
and that give myself permission to be more relaxed about it, which is good. So that's fun.
Freedom. Yeah,
Freedom, man, and freedom. I want to ask. I've got two more questions for you. One of them is words of wisdom or advice, perhaps. And you've already given me some nice little words of wisdom in your own words, which is lovely. But if there was, say, you were speaking to either younger you, smaller Johannes, or maybe the up and comers, or even those that are really just maybe they're stuck, maybe they're creative people, but they're stuck in an engineering job, or maybe. What advice would you give to these people from a mental health perspective?
Phew. Yeah, lots of responsibility here talking to the younger generation.
No,
so
just speak from the heart.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah,
it's a process. It's if we do something and we fail and then we give up, then we really didn't make it. But if we continue doing it and basically fail forward and just accept the fact that everybody just starts and it's all about repetition and being grateful that you can do this and not comparing yourself all the time with the other people. And yeah, I think a key point would also be to at some point put away the social media, put away the onslaught of media and just try to relax and being kind to yourself. Yeah. And of course, I guess a key point is also if you're really struggling and you're stuck and your mind is spinning and you don't have the friends to hold you and you don't have the family connection to really support you. Especially in the pandemic time, I saw that with one friend who was just really lost, and yeah, nobody helped him. So my advice is to seek help and seek professional help, and not just be on your own and try to solve it on your own because you're a man.
Yeah.
So nothing better than a professional therapist helping you out going through that. Yeah. Not YouTube. There's plenty of good videos out there, but just get a therapist you can trust. Basically, train your mind like you would train your guitar skills. It's not like you can expect to be in perfect balance just next week. It's like a muscle you have to work. I guess that would be my monologue to Johannes Jr.
Yeah, that's good. That's true, man. And it is a skill set. learning to cope. There's coping mechanisms, you know, things you can do, things you can say. Um, you know, because if you are alone, that's the hard thing. And I've felt that, even though I have had the family and the support and the friends and even fans and things online, it's you feel like you've got it. I mean, I've said this before in this series. You know, you think that people like Chester Bennington, you know, Linkin Park, he had seemingly had everything, yet still ended his life in a tragic way. Um, yeah, and he openly spoke about a lot of this stuff where the voices inside his head were horrible to him. He couldn't control this and left to by himself to his own devices. He really struggled. He needed support around him, and at that, unfortunately, that moment in time, it didn't come through for him, unfortunately. And Chris Cornell, same sort of thing. Yeah, Robin Williams, another incredible creative person, and you know, one of the funniest men alive, but still tragically ended. You know, it's crazy. You sometimes think people that have got their shit together the most really don't, or at least they struggle in other ways. So reaching out to them, I've found, it's half the reason I've started this whole series is to reach out to people and say, hey, are you actually okay? Like,
Yeah.
is there, you know, I found that as soon as I started sharing my story, um, I had so many people come back to me and say, man, I felt every word because I feel the same. I'm also struggling, you know, and it was, and yeah, there is professional help. There's always professional help, but sometimes the hardest step is that first step of admitting that you need the help. Um, and that's the hard part because so many people struggle in that space where they push everyone away and they don't have that inclination or the the courage to step forward and go, right, I need to see someone, because they feel like they can't. They feel like, these are my problems. This is my own thing. I need to solve this. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, you're right. The stigma around males is that we are men. We are manly men, and we don't share feelings. We don't cry. We play rock and roll and,
Yeah.
you know, stage dive and stuff, and drink beer. You know, it's crazy. And it's changing a little bit now. The stories are changing. People are speaking, and there's a lot more openness and communication around mental health, and especially men's mental health, which is good. Not to discount the women, because they also struggle. Yes, the postpartum depression thing is huge for women with children and things like that. You know, my family has suffered in various ways as well. It's not singular. It's this open conversation with everyone, I think.
Yeah.
And but you know, it's true. You need to be more accepting of yourself. I think what you've said, you know, Johannes Jr. Be more accepting of yourself, because that's a big part of it. Accept the flaws and the mistakes; they'll happen, and keep moving.
Yeah. So
Keep
that
moving through it.
you get nervous. Was that you?
Yeah,
Those things. Also, I mean, personalities may have different things. You might be
yeah,
outgoing person, but you might also be an introverted person. You might have certain elements of all kinds of flavors. And
that's right.
to navigate, okay, it's okay to be all of those things. I don't have to be this. I don't have to be the man of war.
Yeah,
Man who's always strong. No, I think everybody gets weak, and seeking help I mean, it used to be a sign of weakness and it's a huge stigma, but the fact that people like you and I are just talking about that, and I was talking to my good friends about this very openly, that's helping to maybe also motivate other people that are seriously struggling
yeah,
to get professional help and
yeah.
also to get in the conversation. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's such a huge
I
thing,
guess
and I know that.
15 years ago it was different. I can only speak
Yeah,
for Germany. It was different when you go to a therapist. It's like, oh, he's going to a therapist.
yeah,
What a
yeah. I understand that. And it's similar in Australia, man. Very similar. It's crazy how it's so good that it's evolved past that now and it's getting better um, in that space. People are more accepting, which is very cool. Um, but I know that for me personally, I think one of the biggest therapists, I guess, that I go to is music. Whether it's playing or listening to, I've shared the songs, or there's many. There's not just one, but can you share with me a song that has helped you in a time of need, or perhaps that means something to you from a mental health perspective? Has it gotten you through a tough time, or has it inspired you, or is it like a catalog of emotions, or what's the song for you?
Yeah, music is a therapist to just get in the flow and just
Mm.
basically let everything else go. I can totally subscribe to that. For me, the song that I wrote down is Dio Caught in the Middle. It's a song
Okay.
that was just popping up in my Spotify playlist
Yeah.
after my last breakup. I'm not particularly a Dio listener. It popped up, and somehow it's just the magic of music that it captured that emotion for me of
Mm.
grief and also freedom and angst and power, and it's it's hard to describe really what happens in that song. It's just all of these things that I was feeling was somehow in there
Mm.
in some shape or form, and it was grabbing me in all directions. Uh,
That's incredible,
Sad
isn't
and
it?
powerful and happy and then weak again. Yeah,
Oh man, isn't it crazy how music can do this?
that's magic.
It's it is magic, man. It is absolutely magic. I look forward to listening to this song. Actually, I'm gonna chuck it on after this conversation, um,
Dude.
because I love hearing these perspectives on songs. And it could be anything. And it doesn't have to be a sad and somber song, or yeah, if it's helping you through something, or it doesn't even have to be a full party rock anthem to make you feel empowered. You can get the opposite emotions from the opposite songs, which I just find so amusing. Um,
Yeah,
for some person it means loss and grief. For somebody else, it means life and joy. Like, it's crazy. But
yeah,
at the same time, that's the power of music, man. It's subjective, like I said, and that's cool. So, what was it? Dio. What's the song?
yeah. It was by Dio, and it's called "Caught in the Middle."
Caught in the Middle. Excellent. I'm gonna check this out. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Dude, I'm
Um,
also interested in knowing if it does anything to you because it might just not connect to any of your brain
mm,
cells.
I
It's
I
just
will
a
let you
thought.
know. I will let you know. I'll shoot you a message, and we can talk about it on Friday when we actually meet in person for the first
So,
time,
dude,
which is insane. Um, I I want to say a massive thank you for agreeing to come on here, talking to some crazy Australian guy you've only just met about deep conversations about mental health that can be quite, that's a lot. But I appreciate the fact that you agreed, and I appreciate you. You're incredible by all reports from everything I've seen and have dealt with. You're an incredible human being and a very uh, kindred spirit in a way, which is amazing. I love that again. This music can bring us together in this way, and we have this bond and we share this space. But you as a person, you just seem so cool. So I'm really excited to get to know you even more over the next week and beyond,
dude,
and release some music together, which would be amazing. Um,
crazy times, man. Crazy times.
Crazy times indeed. Crazy times indeed. Obviously, we've got the gig on the 25th, which is Friday at Cook's Bar in Munich, which is so exciting. And I know you mentioned you're playing in Munich with your punk rock band, I Am Machine. Is that right?
Right. I'm also in a four-piece punk pop rock band.
Awesome.
Yeah, we will also be playing in November.
That's
in the same proximity of where we are
Yeah.
playing on the 25th. So that area, which by the way used to be Freddie Mercury's party area.
There you go.
We have some history there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm also very happy to go on stage with these guys, because it's also it's just you go in the room and you make loud music, and we put that on stage. There's nothing digital. It's just all very true.
That's amazing.
That's happening in November. Yeah, but Tim, I also need to say a big thanks, and also for making this happen and having me on here. I'm very, very happy to be part of this, and be talking about this. Hopefully just helping to get less stigma on the topic.
Yeah.
Just make it a normal topic.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Everybody it should just be like talking about the weather, but in a deeper conversation. It's and there shouldn't be. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with feeling the feelings that we feel as human beings, in my opinion. It's just sometimes you just need to talk to someone about it, and that's what this is about, man. It's just about sharing that experience, because guaranteed, as human beings, we experience the same things. And if I'm feeling it, you're feeling it, somebody else is probably feeling it, and sometimes if we just feel it together, that's enough to help us move forward and get through it together, which is amazing.
Very true.
Massive thanks again, man. I think we might wrap it up and we might leave it there. I'm man, very grateful, extremely grateful. This is insane. I'm in Europe. I'm in Europe, and I'm talking to my friend in Munich, and we're gonna play our show together. We've got a few days in between, a rehearsal to go to as well, which would be exciting. We can meet in person and jam it out. And but man, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you and your time, and your playing. Oh my God, your playing is amazing. Very excited.
Thanks.
Very excited. Very excited. But thank you again, man. Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Awesome.
I'm very flattered to be on here. Guest number 3.
No worries at all.
And, yeah, I'm getting really into your songs now, playing them on the guitar. I got some surprise lead parts for you, and maybe vocal. So
I like this. Buddy. I can't wait. That'll be awesome. Thank you so much, man. Well, Musician's Mind, raw talk, raw music. That's what this is all about. This absolute raw talk. There's no tricks here. There's no craziness going on. It's just two human beings having a human conversation about human things in the creative space. And thank you again. And for any of those that want to jump on as a guest at some point, and you want to maybe have a chat to me, please let me know. And if any of these conversations with myself, Johannes, or anyone has resonated with you in some way, shape, or form, please share it along. I like to pull little snippets that I think are really, really important, or nice messages for people to hear about all of this, and I'm going to put them out there in the world, and hopefully somebody can get just a little bit of something from any of this, and hopefully help them get through that day just that little bit better, or maybe inspire them to reach out to either one of us, and again have a human conversation, because that's what it's all about. And tomorrow I will announce the next guest on the show. I'm also extremely excited. It'll be another international guest, which is very exciting. Unfortunately, we won't be in the same place. That's next to impossible, but it's very exciting. So stay tuned for that. And Johannes, I look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best, and have a wonderful week.
Thanks for having me. Dude, see you on Friday.
Yes.
Or Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much.